When a nation goes to war, many people take cover. Some flee to other nations, some brace up for battle, and others, they start businesses. This is a story about a brand built in the midst of a war. This is also a story about a young man somewhere in Korea with a vision, determined to meet the needs of his country and bring to an end the reign of the Japanese electronics giants. This is the story of LG. The year was 1947, a really difficult time in Korea. The nation had just been liberated. It was a time when imported goods dominated the market, leaving a gap where domestic products should have been. It was in this environment that a determined entrepreneur named Koo In-Whoi saw not scarcity, but opportunity. Koo In-Whoi was born on August 27, 1907, in Jinju, South Gyeongsang Province, Korea. Koo In-Whoi was raised in a very traditional and strict family environment. For 4 generations, the Koo family lived together under one roof. This communal living experience was central to his character. It instilled in him the importance of living harmoniously with others, which later became the bedrock of his management philosophy, stressing unity and respect among customers, employees, and business partners. In 1926, he completed 2 years at Chunggang High School. While some sources suggest he had a limited formal education, his fire for business was clear in his early days. He wasn't always into the cosmetics business. In 1931, with support from his family, he opened the Koo In-Whoi shop in Jinju, starting with a lumber store business. Although his first year was a loss, he quickly adapted by stocking fabrics tailored to customers' taste, and 7 years later, he had turned the store into a profitable venture called Koo In-Sang-ho by 1938. During the Japanese occupation, his family was fully committed to the fight for Korean independence. In 1941, Koo In-Whoi himself made a significant contribution to the Korean Provisional Government in Shanghai, following a similar donation his father had made earlier to the independence fighter Kim Koo. These early experiences, the strict, harmonious family life, and the dedication to domestic commerce laid the foundation for his later vision of self-sufficiency, and another 7 years later, in 1947, he founded the LG Chemical Industrial Corp. Koo In-Whoi believed in self-sufficiency, in creating products that were truly Korean. His first venture was not in a big idea or innovation, but in something simple and essential: cosmetics. He established LG Chemical Industrial Corp., a name that sounded like lucky, which when translated meant bringing joy. His initial product, the Lucky Cream face powder, was an immediate sensation. It was the first domestically produced makeup cream, and its success was a pivotal moment. However, this success was immediately threatened by a critical challenge. The lids of the glass cream jars, made from imported materials, were often defective and prone to cracking, causing product returns and lots of frustrated customers. Instead of abandoning the product, Koo In-Whoi met this packaging crisis with a pioneering solution. He recognized that to solve the issue, he needed control over the material supply itself. In 1952, he made a pivotal and bold decision to introduce Korea's first injection molding machine and pivot into the plastics industry. This move, being made at the height of the Korean War, was filled with financial risk and was a manufacturing nightmare. But it allowed LG to manufacture durable plastic lids, and soon after, Korea's first plastic combs and toothbrushes. This innovative solution not only saved the cream business, but expanded LG into a pioneer in the Korean plastics and chemical industry. But Koo In-Whoi's vision extended beyond chemicals. In the late 1950s, following the Korean War, he saw the dawning of the electronic age. For Korea to truly modernize and compete globally, it needed to enter the world of technology. In 1958, he founded his second great company, Gold Star Electronics. This venture was dedicated to electronics. The challenge here was one of resources and technical expertise. Korea possessed virtually no domestic engineering base for electronics manufacturing, relying entirely on expensive foreign licensing and imported components. Persevering, Koo established Gold Star to satisfy the domestic demand for household technology, which became a better alternative to more expensive imported products. Under the Gold Star banner, Koo In-Whoi became a pioneer in many achievements for Korea. They built the nation's first radio in 1959, followed by its first television in 1966, and then refrigerator and washing machine. This was more than just business. It was a commitment to electrifying and modernizing everyday life in a developing nation. Despite the severe limitations in engineering talent and complex patent issues, Gold Star relied heavily on strategic partnerships, mostly with Japanese and later American companies, to acquire the necessary technology and speed Korea needed for its industrial development. The two pillars of his business, Lucky Chemicals and Gold Star Electronics, grew side by side, fueling Korea's economic miracle. They represented the union of industry and technology. In 1983, the group officially unified under the name Lucky Gold Star. Finally, in 1995, the corporation was rebranded as LG. While officially an abbreviation of the historical Lucky and Gold Star names, the company adopted the famous tagline, "Life's Good." It was a reflection of Koo In-Whoi's original spirit, that the purpose of all this industry and innovation was ultimately to make life better, more prosperous, and indeed luckier for everyone. For decades, the world of consumer electronics belonged to Japan. Brands like Sony, Panasonic, and most of all, Sharp, the pioneer of LCD, were untouchable symbols of quality and innovation. Their high-definition screens and cutting-edge designs filled living rooms across the globe. Sharp, in particular, was the king of the flat panel, building enormous state-of-the-art manufacturing complexes like the Kamiyama and Sakai plants, betting everything on the future of LCD. But the giants were slow. The pivotal moment arrived in the early 2000s with the irreversible shift from bulky CRT TVs and complex plasma screens to mass-produced flat-panel TVs. The Japanese companies, burdened by high domestic manufacturing costs and a corporate culture resistant to major changes, hesitated. They were comfortable manufacturing high-margin, feature-rich products tailored for the domestic market, a phenomenon dubbed the Galapagos Syndrome. They couldn't or wouldn't believe the display market was about to become a price war. While the Japanese debated strategy, South Korean rivals LG, along with Samsung, launched a devastating, coordinated counterattack. Their strategy was aggressive, singular, and focused entirely on global dominance. LG and Samsung poured billions into building colossal next-generation LCD factories, Gen 7, Gen 8 and beyond, far larger and more cost-efficient than any facility in Japan. They accepted lower initial margins, almost selling at a loss, understanding that volume was the weapon. By treating LCD panels as a high-volume commodity, they achieved economies of scale that quickly undercut Japanese pricing. Unlike their rivals, LG along with Samsung were quick to adopt global standards and focused on rapid, relentless innovation. They did not cling to proprietary formats, ensuring their products were universally compatible and easy for consumers to adopt. LG flooded the international market with large, high-quality, yet dramatically affordable flat-screen TVs. Japanese brands, with their higher manufacturing costs and strong yen, couldn't compete on price without destroying their profit margins. Sharp, despite its LCD heritage, found its manufacturing costs too high and its panel technology quickly commoditized by the Korean scale. The final decisive move came with LG's OLED technology. While Samsung focused on QLED, a variation of LCD, LG took a massive multi-billion-dollar risk on large-screen OLED. This technology delivered perfect black levels and infinite contrast, establishing an irrefutable benchmark for premium picture quality that no LCD could match. LG successfully cornered the entire premium display segment. They became the sole mass-market supplier of large OLED panels, selling them not only in their own TVs, but even to former rivals like Sony, forcing them to become customers of their Korean competitor in order to field a premium TV offering. By the end of the 2000s, the outcome was clear. LG and Samsung had captured the vast majority of the global television market share and defined the new standards for both budget and premium displays. The Japanese giants were forced to license their brand names, sell off their manufacturing plants, or retreat into highly specialized niche markets. The great switch was complete. The great Japanese electronics empire had fallen at the feet of the new guys from Korea, led by Koo In-Whoi's LG. The LG brand has become a national pillar, placing Korea as a major player in the consumer electronics industry. Koo In-Whoi's legacy is defined by a deep faith in domestic production and the belief that a successful business should, above all, be a service to its society. You can find more stories behind your favorite brand, so subscribe and hit the bell icon for more brand tales. I'd see you again next time.